Hello friends, and welcome to this crochet tutorial where I'm going to show you how to make this walrus keychain. This keychain pattern can also be used as a plushie pattern using larger yarn such as blanket yarn. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make the keychain version where we will use worsted weight yarn, safety eyes, safety nose, and add our tusks. This is basically a no-sew pattern. The only thing we sew on is the tusks. That's a hard word to say. Where we will sew them in. Everything else is crocheted as you go along. So if this is of interest to you, which I hope it is, I hope you come and join me in this crochet tutorial on how to make this walrus keychain / plushie. The materials and the tools that we're going to be using to make our walrus plushie / keychain. Here I have Red Heart Super Saver. This is a color called True Brown. It's kind of a lighter tannish color looking to me, but the lights here in the camera may show different. We're going to use just a little bit of white. We'll need our scissors, a tapestry needle. We have 10mm safety eyes. I'm using the round black ones. We have a safety nose. This little nose has indents for nostrils. Stitch marker. The holder for the keychain, and the ball chain links, and a 4.5mm crochet hook. For the keychain version, we will use 2 strands of the worsted yarn. The reason why is it will make the body a little bit more firmer, so that as you carry keys or up against a backpack, it will not rub itself thin. Also, it'll be with the smaller hook, it'll be tight enough so that your stitches will not separate. To create the double, what you want to do is on your skein of yarn, you pull out the center pull, and then you pull the outside, the one that's wrapped around the outside. Join the two together. We're not going to use a whole lot, but I did the ball because I'll be making many walruses. Just coil it up into a ball, and then we can begin crocheting. Do this also for the white. So to begin our walrus, we're going to take about 6 inches. Take it and wrap it around your fingers, and then bring it forward. Go under the first side, bring the second one under. I twist mine, and then complete a chain. If your tail is twisted inside your circle, go ahead and pull it out. It'll make it, when we tighten the circle, a lot easier. The first set of stitches we're going to be doing is 8 single crochet into our magic circle. To do a single crochet, you have your loop on your hook. You want to go into the circle and draw up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the 2 on your hook. This completes 1 single crochet. Let's move on. We're going to add 7 more. Now before we move on, let's count to make sure that we do have 8 single crochets. You'll notice at the top is the top closing of our stitch. So let's count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7, so I'm going to add 1 more. After we have our total of 8, place your finger and your thumb over your last few stitches, grab the tail, and pull. Pull until it's closed. Be careful not to pull it too tight because the yarn can break. If you're doing with the worsted weight and you have the 2 strands, go ahead and pull each one individually if needed so that you can close your hole. Sometimes they do separate and it makes it a little difficult to close. So after we have our 8 single crochet, we're going to count back again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is to verify that this is the first single crochet that we put into our magic ring. And let's go through that and add a single crochet to it. And sometimes it can be a little tight because we have just tightened our magic circle. Okay, make sure you don't grab the tail like I do sometimes. Okay, draw up a loop and bring that loop through that first stitch. Boy, I really pulled this one tight, didn't I? Okay, so here we have the 2 loops on our hook, and yarn over, and that completes the single crochet. We're going to mark the first stitch of every row, so let's add our stitch marker into the top of that stitch. Do not cut your tail. We will tie this in after a few rows. Okay, so we have 1 single crochet in the next stitch here. We're going to add 2 single crochets. 2 single crochets together is known as an increase. So this is our increase, 2 in the same stitch. Okay, so over the last 2 stitches, we now have 3 stitches that we added because we increased on this one. This is our repeat. So over these next 2 stitches, the first one we're going to add 1 single crochet, and the second one we'll add 2 for our increase. So here's the first one, and then the second one we'll add our increase. Let's repeat these 2 repeats. 1 increase, 1 increase. Please pause your video and go ahead and do those. Before we move on, we're going to tighten the magic circle tail. So let's go ahead and enlarge the loop. And I see that my stitch marker has gone through my tail, so I'm going to fix that. There we go. So let's take our tapestry needle, load the yarn into it. We're going to go through a couple of stitches here. I guess I really pulled this magic circle tight. Then we're going to go through the back of a few stitches. Let's pull it through. We're going to go through those same stitches again. This time leave a little loop and then take your needle and go through the loop. If I can hold on to my needle. Okay, and then pull it tight. Let's do that again one more time. and go through that loop again. Tighten it up. If it's like mine, you probably have to pull one at a time. There we go. And then we can cut this with a 1-inch tail. So after replacing our hook and tightening up our loop, let's remove our stitch marker and start our next row. Into our first stitch, 1 single crochet, and of course we want to replace that stitch marker. In our second stitch, 1 single crochet, and in our third stitch, increase, or 2 single crochet. So the repeat for this row, going over 3 stitches, will be single crochet, and increase. Single crochet, single crochet, and in our third stitch, increase. Okay, we have 2 more sets of 3 stitches left. We have 1. Somewhere I messed up, didn't I? Okay, so while you go ahead and add single crochet, and increase, I'm going to figure out what my problem is, and then I'll meet you at the end of the row. I guess this is my blooper. I don't usually make many bloopers. Good Lord. Okay. I was so busy trying to think of what the next step was that at the end of the last row, I forgot to add my increase. Yes, even the best of us make mistakes. But the good thing is I caught it now because it was in the beginning stages. Now, this is the reason why in crochet it's always a good idea to count your stitches. And I know I haven't told you about how many per row, but I thought because it's in the beginning, we won't have that many to deal with. Now the next row, we're going to end up with 24 stitches. I'll give you that ahead of time because we'll have single crochet and increase, single crochet and increase. Okay, but this is a good example of why it's always good, no matter how many stitches are in that row, to count your stitches to make sure that your stitch count is accurate. It's a horrible feeling to have to go back later on and take out so much work that you thought was right because one stitch could mess it up. So we're going to start our next row. As you can tell, I've already placed my 1 single crochet in and added my stitch marker. And as before, I had commented on single crochet and increase. So let's increase into our second stitch here. And this is our repeat for this row. So every 2 stitches, single crochet, increase. Next 2 stitches, single crochet, increase. So let's do that. You're going to repeat this 8 times. So at the end of this row, you should have 24 single crochet, which I will encourage you to count because you want to make sure that this stitch count is right so that we can maintain that stitch count for a few extra rows. Okay, so single crochet, increase. Continue on and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Please pause your video. All right, now I just finished my stitches and no, I did not count mine, but we're going to double check to make sure that we have 24 stitches. Okay, so we count at the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and our first stitch is number 24. So yes, I did right. Now, one thing I forgot to tell you is you do not count this loop. It is not a completed stitch. Okay, you always counted the completed stitches. So the next thing we are going to do, as soon as I open up my book and find out what it is that I did when I first made mine. See, here I have my little cheat sheet right here. Okay, we're going to do 2 rows of 24 stitches each row. So make sure you start your first one and add your stitch marker. This is very important to maintain the accurate stitch count. Okay, so here's 1. So we want to continue around till we have 24. Start row 1 again, 24. Please pause your video and I'll meet you there. So after those 2 rows, if your right facing stitches are on the inside, let's go ahead and curl this out so that our right side stitching is on the outside and the wrong side is on the inside. In this row, we're going to be making the nose, which means we're going to create a bobble stitch. But first, let's place our first single crochet in and add our stitch marker. So we have 1. We're going to create a total of 7 single crochets. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so in our next stitch only, we're going to create a bobble stitch. A bobble stitch is basically 3 half done. For our nose is going to be 3 half done double crochets and then grouped together at the top to create a cluster. Okay, so to do that, place our finger on our loop, yarn over, and then place your finger on top of that loop. Let's go into the next hole and draw up a loop, yarn over just through the first 2 loops on the hook. We're going to be increasing the loops on the hook, and that's okay. So you'll be able to do this. Okay, so place your finger back on that loop, yarn over and onto the yarn over part of that loop. Let's go back into the hole and draw up another loop and yarn over through 2 loops on the hook again. Okay, so we'll have 3 loops. We're going to do this one more time. So yarn over, hold that loop down, go into the same hole, draw up a loop, yarn over through 2 loops on the hook. So we got 4 loops here. Okay, now to make it so that the hook will go through all of these loops easily, we're going to aim the hook down like this and also push up. So yarn over, aim your hook down, grip your work here and push up and pull through, and it will go through easily. Okay, you'll notice here is our last stitch. So we want the next stitch, and we're going to place a single crochet into that stitch. Now if this goes backwards or forwards, either way it's okay, because we're going to push it towards us when we're done. So insert your hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, and then go through both loops on the hook for our single crochet. Okay, now we're going to take that bobble stitch. I'm going to use a pen to push it through, because sometimes when you put that single crochet in, it makes it a little tight. So let's push it through. Okay, and then snug up on your single crochet that you push here. And you see how this pops out just a little bit? Okay, so that one single crochet is our separation for our nose. Now into the next stitch, we're going to do the bobble stitch one more time. So yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. So yarn over into that same hole, drop a loop, yarn over through 2 loops on the hook. Okay, one more time. You got this. You can do it. Pull up a loop through the 2 loops on the hook. Okay, now yarn over, aim that hook down and push up and pull through all those stitches. Okay, and into the next one, 1 single crochet. Here, let's push it through before we complete that single crochet and tighten it up. But I'm still going to use my pen to push it through. And I'll give it a little burst right there. So you can see our 2 little noses right here. Or 2 little bumps for noses, I should say. Okay, so let's do 7 single crochet. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, you'll notice here's our center, so we're going to look here to the back. This is where we're going to increase back here so that we can have a little curve for our tail. Our next stitch is going to be an increase, so let's place 2 single crochets in that one spot and single crochet into the next. Okay, so this is our repeat. We're going to do this a total of 3 times. So here's increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, and in our very last stitch will be an increase. Okay, so increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, and increase. Okay, at the end of this row you should have 28 stitches, and you can see how it's starting to come out just a little bit already. Moving on to our next row, we're going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 28 single crochets. Now I'm going to go up to the nose area with you so that you can see how to go through these nose bobble part of the nose. Remember, after you complete this row, to count your stitches to make sure that you have 28. Okay, so here I am at my nose. You notice we have a long stitch right here and a short one, another long one, and a short one. We're going to place 1 single crochet in each one of those stitches. So here's the long one, that's the top of the bobble. Here's the short one, and that's the single crochet. The next one is the long one. Oops. Come on now. There we go. It wanted to pull more than it needed. and then single crochet. Okay, continue around, 1 single crochet per stitch, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Make sure you have 28 at the end of your row. This next row is going to help form the beginning shapings for our tail. So we're going to do 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and we're going to continue on until we have 22 single crochets, which will bring you to the back area here. Okay, so continue your count until you have 22 single crochets. Don't forget to count the first one we just made with our stitch marker. Please pause your video and I'll meet you there. Makes it go pretty fast when you got 22 stitches, huh? Okay, so in the next 2 stitches, increase, increase. This will help with our tail on our next row. Whoops, I didn't increase. I started to put it into the next one. Okay, so increase and increase. Okay, we have 4 stitches left, so 1 single crochet in each of those 4 stitches. Okay, and this is what we have so far. You see how we have a little indent out while the front goes straight down. Our next row will be a challenge row. We're going to be adding little feet here in the front, and we're going to be adding our tail in the back. I'm going to encourage you to get 5 extra stitch markers out, and this will help when we have to do the row after the tail. Okay, so if you can get 5 stitch markers ready, we'll be ready to start with our next row. So to begin this long row, we're going to take our time, and I might have to stop because many know from my subscribers that I use a GoPro, and the GoPro only lasts 10 minutes before I have to stop my filming and restart again. Don't ask me why. Okay, so we have 1 here. We want to create 7 single crochets. So here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and you should be off by like 1 or 2 stitches off of this nose right here. Okay, so we're going to start making our foot. So let's chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now when we chain like this, we do not count the chain on the hook. The first one that's complete is the first one here. We're going to skip that first one, and in the next one we're going to place a slip stitch. Now to do a slip stitch, you go through the loop on the hook, on the chain, you draw up a loop, but you're going to take that loop and go through the loop on the hook. Okay, then the next stitch we're going to do a single crochet, which we already know how to do. We've been doing it all along. And then our third loop, or third chain, we're going to do a half double crochet. So yarn over, place your finger on both of those loops, and then go through the loop on your chain, draw up a loop. So we got 3 loops now, and then yarn over and through all 3 loops on that chain. Okay, now our stitch marker should be behind us here. That way we know we're going in the right direction. We're going to single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, remember to snug that up just a little bit. We're going to place a total of 5 single crochets here. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and now we're going to make another foot. So let's chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're going to skip that first chain, and into the second chain a slip stitch, into the next chain a single crochet, and into that third one a half double crochet. Okay, make sure we're going in the right direction here. So the next thing we're going to do is 11. We're coming up to where we did our doubles over here, so we're going to do 11 single crochets. So into that next stitch, here's our first of 11. Snug it up. Okay, so here's 1, 2. Continue on until you have 11. We're not done with this row, and I'm going to show you every stitch that we're going to do. I need to stop my filming right here because it's a GoPro. So continue with 11 single crochets. Okay, even the best of us can make a mistake. This last stitch, please take it out. Your number 11 stitch, take it out. I know, you don't want to hear that. I'm sorry. Okay, so over the next, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, we're going to be doing front loop only. Okay, now these are for our beginners, and I really suggest doing this after we place in our tail. Now the front loop, you can tell we have the front loop here and a back loop here. So we're going to do the front loops. Okay, so in the front loop only, single crochet into that next stitch. We're going to chain 2. And in that same stitch that we just did the single crochet, we're going to double crochet. So yarn over, we're going to drop a loop, yarn over through 2 loops on the hook, and yarn over through the last 2 loops on the hook. Okay, and into the next one we're going to add 3 double crochets. So yarn over into the front loop only, drop a loop, here's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 3 double crochet. Our next stitch is right here, but not yet. We're going to chain 2 and slip stitch into that front loop only, right there. So to do a front slip stitch, draw the loop through and then go through the loop on the hook. Okay, now hang on, even though it's all bunched up, we'll fix it here in just a minute. Now chain 2, and in our next loop, 3 double crochets. Oops, I'm picking up my yarn from the floor. I should say my stuffing. Sometimes it makes it to the floor and I can't catch it in time. So 3 double crochets into our next stitch, front loop only, because there's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and into the next stitch, 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 single crochet. Okay, and now the last 3 stitches, we're going to go through both sides, the front and the back loop, and do just 3 single crochets. All right, so let's enlarge our loop. Now, for our beginners, I would like for you to look at the back side. Okay, so here we have 5 loops. We want to place a stitch marker in each one of those loops so that on our next row you will be able to find it easily, because when you're crocheting you might not be able to see it that easily. And these 5 stitches are the ones that we did the front loop only, so here we're going to mark the back loop only. Now I know for us experienced ones it seems like a hassle and a headache, but crocheting is meant to be fun, not to be stressful. Okay, so here for our beginners, go ahead and mark the back loops of each one of those 5 stitches, the tail that we just went over. Okay, you can see them right here. All right, and then we'll be ready to move on, but first we're going to be doing some other things, because once we move on we're going to start decreasing to make our center smaller. So first we're going to add our face and our tusks, and then we'll start here. So let's go ahead and get out our eyes and our nose and our safety backings, and we'll start making a face. So this nose that I got came in a pack. Let me show you the pack. Okay, I got this on Amazon. It comes with noses, it comes with colorful eyes, and it comes with black eyes. The eyes start at 6mm and work their way up to, let's see, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And the bigger eyes here are size 12mm. And I have red, green, brown, blue, and clear. And then here's the noses. And so here's how I got my nose. And it comes with its own backings, but those are in a separate bag. So let's add our nose first. Now the nose is going to go right above the separate here. It's going to go right above that single crochet that separated the 2 bobble stitches here. Let me make sure that that's in the right place. Yeah, it looks good. I might have to make sure that my bobble here is pushed out all the way also. Okay. Now in my other one, what I did, I just went one up. It seemed to look better to me. Yeah, I still think it looks better. So that's what I did. Where our single crochet is, go up 1 and insert your nose. Now if you don't have a nose, you can always use black yarn to create a little triangle right here. Now before we put our backings on, let's go ahead and place our eyes. So I'm going to go up to the next row. And when you put these on, you kind of want to center them to the little baubles below. Does that look good? Yeah, looks kind of balanced. Now if you want them closer, give it a little personality, whatever you choose to do, that's fine. Eyes and facial expressions is what really makes these amigurumis fun. Okay, so here I've picked up some extra stitching on the back, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and take my backing. I'm going to place it on. Push it all the way down as far as it'll go. Sometimes these smaller pieces can be kind of hard to play with. There we go. Okay, and our nose, you want to make sure that the triangle is in the right spot, because once you put this backing on, it's going to be hard to move. Alright, now you may be wondering why I put them on upside down. Is because with this doubled worsted weight yarn, sometimes you can only get one click, and I want to get it all the way down as far as it'll go. Okay, so let's pop them out. Yep, looks good to me. Next thing we're going to do is our tusks. Right here, our little tusks. So let's get out our white yarn and let's make our tusks. Now, this is a personal preference, but I chose to double my yarn. If you want to do single, you might want to consider a smaller hook, 3.75. Okay, so but we do want to start off with a good, about a 6-inch tail, and let's place a slip knot onto our hook. Okay, and we're going to start off with a chain of 4. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as before, we do not count the one on our hook. We're going to skip our first one, and then we're going to slip stitch 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. So over the next 3 chains, we're just going to do slip stitch. And that'll make a nice little straight shot up and down our tusk. Okay, nice little tusk. So cut about 6 inches. I prefer to have about 6-inch tails, because I want to make sure I have enough yarn to do what I need to do. And sometimes my fingers are like, I could use more yarn. Okay, now we've made one. I'm going to encourage you to make the second one. So we're going to chain 4, skip the first chain, and 3 single crochets down. Please make your second one, and we'll be ready to attach our tusks to our walrus. After having our 2 tusks crocheted out, we're going to be using our tapestry needle to add to this. Now, I don't recommend using a crochet hook to pull this through. We want a nice finish here. So underneath our first tusk, let's go up inside through there, and then use the tapestry needle for the other side. And bring the tapestry needle over a little so that it's not going in the same hole. We want to go over just a little bit. Okay, bring it to the center. I'm not going to tie it off just yet. Let's go ahead and add our second one. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to raise it up and go in on one side and pull the yarn through, and then go in on the other side. Okay, we went here, so we're going to come over here, raise it up. Right. It looks like a little odd right now, but we want to take each side and tie it to itself. So if you need to pull it out, do that. Take it and tie each one with a square knot. And cut to 1 inch. Go ahead and do the other side, and we'll be ready to start to crochet the bottom with our decreases on our next row. So you ready to start the bottom? The bottom consists of 2-3 rows, which really aren't that hard. We will be doing decreases and give it a nice flat bottom. Okay, so we did our single crochet in our first stitch. Now the next one will go over 2 stitches. We're going to make a decrease, and when you decrease, you want to pick up just the front loops, and what that does is combine the 2 into 1, so we can have 1 single crochet and still have it look like a single crochet even though there was a decrease done. Okay, so we did single crochet, decrease. Now you notice how this one's been pulled up over here, so we want to go to our next one. So single crochet, and we're getting close to our foot. So here we're going to decrease right here, pick up the 2 front loops, and right here we have our last single crochet. So 1 single crochet. Okay, we're going to be pulling our foot forward, but you'll notice where our next single crochet is. Here's our last one, and if you see that, this is the half double crochet going sideways. So single crochet and then single crochet. So right here is where we're going to go. Follow that foot down, and then here's our single crochet. Okay, so we did our single crochet there. In our next stitch, we're going to decrease. Now this isn't going to be a consistent repeat like single crochet, decrease. No, this row is going to be a little off, so I'm going to go through it with you. So let's see, we did our decrease. That means we have 2 single crochets left. So 2 single crochet, I don't think you want to do a decrease and decrease over here and pull that foot forward. No, that's no fun. Okay, so the same thing applies here. Here's the half double crochet. So here's a single crochet and a single crochet. So let's pull this over and pick up that single crochet. Okay. So we single crochet. Now the next one we're going to do is a decrease. Single crochet, decrease, single crochet, and decrease, and here we got our first single crochet. Now remember all those front loops only, and here's our back loops. Okay, now it's going to seem like we're stretching it over, but we want to pick up the back loops only. So single crochet in each one of these 5 stitches across. Okay, so I want to come over here and pick up this one. Whoops, I went out of camera view, didn't I? I'm sorry. So here's one. We can take that stitch marker out. Here's our next one. But for our beginners, can you see how putting those stitch markers into those back loops help just a little bit? That way you know what you're looking for in future projects. Okay, so that's 2. Here's our third one. You see that straight line? Okay, and we got 2 more left. Okay, now we want to bring it forward, and since we're so close to the end, let's count back 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. So we want to pick up right here onto the top of that 3rd single crochet, and you want to go through both loops. So there's 1, and then these next 2, we're going to make it a decrease. Front loops only. And phew, we completed this row. Okay, notice how our hole is starting to get smaller. We're almost done. Take a break, because I know your fingers are probably screaming at you. Please pause your video, and we'll be right back. All right, let's move on. Break time is over. Okay, so in our first stitch here, we're going to do a single crochet. Now, I want to take you back to when we first started. Remember, after we did our first row, we did single crochet increase, and then the second row we did 2 single crochet increase. Well, this row we're going to do 2 single crochet decrease. So we have 1 single crochet. Here's our second single crochet, and then we're going to decrease. Now we ain't got no obstacles to go over. This is a straight row. Okay? Do the 2 single crochet decrease 5 times, and you will have 1, 2, 3 stitches left at the end of the row. I will meet you there so that we can finish those 3 stitches. So, single crochet, and decrease. Continue around. So, covering these last 3 stitches, we're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 decrease. Okay, and our hole is getting smaller. Our next row will be the same thing. We're going to do 2 single crochets and 1 decrease. We're going to do that 4 times with 1 single crochet at the end. So you'll have that 1 stitch left over, and you'll just do 1 single crochet in it. So 1, 2, decrease, 1, decrease, one, two, decrease. Did I get out of camera view again? Oh my goodness. Okay. One, two, let's see, decrease. For those who are new to my channel, I have my camera right in front of my face and about 6 inches from my work. So I'm kind of working around my camera a lot. And that's the reason why sometimes I go out of view. All right, so let's remove our stitch marker. Yeah, the hole's getting smaller, huh? But we're going to do one more thing. We're going to single crochet, decrease, and then slip stitch. Okay, the hole is big enough that we can stuff it and still pull it closed. So let's cut us about an 10 to 12 inch tail. Let's pull it through. Let's get out our stuffing, and we're going to start stuffing our little walrus. Now my finger can fit in there, my thumb can fit in there, so I know if you take some stuffing and try to shove it in there, it will go in. Okay, so just take your finger, start feeding it in. It will go in. See how it's disappearing in there? Okay, we want to try and stuff it up this way first so that we can do our slope part last. Okay, don't stuff it too full, but you want it to be firm. So here I'm going to stuff the back portion. Now this still feels kind of squishy to me, so I'm going to add some more stuffing. I encourage you to add more stuffing to make it so that it is firm and not squishy. Remember that as you use these, say like as on your backpack or with your keys or something like that, the weight can cause the stuffing to squish even more, kind of like a bed pillow. So we want it to be firm so that it'll help maintain that shape but not lose its shape. So here, yeah, we got a nice firm feeling right here. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and sew this closed. So let's get our tapestry needle. We're going to go, we stopped here, we normally would go around, so let's pick up the front loop of each stitch. Oops. I like to do like a running stitch. It makes it a little bit quicker. Okay, and what we're doing is we're going to pull these stitches together as if we had its own magic ring, like in the beginning. Okay, so we made it all the way to the back, or to the beginning of our stitching here. Let's pull it tight. Now if you're using the blanket yarn, don't pull it too tight because the yarn could break. Remember, that is a thread with a chenille finish to it. We can go around it again, and then we can pull it tighter as needed. So go through those same little lumps and bumps that we've created, and then you can pull it tighter, and that'll help it to stay closed. Okay, so now that we've got it closed where we don't have to keep pulling on it, let's go ahead and take our next stitch. Oops. I'm going to drop a loop, take the yarn and go back through that loop. And that'll secure it. Let's do it one more time. Now, for those who have done finishing off before, hear me out on what I do. I usually go back in, and then I'll come up into a row. And instead of cutting it off, I like to go through some stitches because that'll help hold the stitching that I just put in and not have it come out as easily. It's like in regular crochet, you usually weave it in, and this is kind of like what I'm doing here. Okay, we cut it off close to it. And so here we have our finished walrus, but we want to make it into a keychain. So let's go ahead and add our little chain piece here on the top. Now I've done this many times, and sometimes I get happy results and sometimes it's like, So you never know, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to find the center top right here. This is where we started with our 8 single crochet. We're going to go in between some stitches here and come across just like that. We're going to take the clasp, we're going to take the hook and put it into the center of that clasp, if it'll stay right now. You know how it is when it's on camera. Okay, then take it and twist it. Yay! It did what it was supposed to do. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Now I chose brown and white because my colors here are brown and white. If you chose a different color, that's good. Make it more colorful and happy looking. Okay, so we added our ball chain and our little hook. And now we have our keychain, our walrus keychain with his little tail. You know, when you do crochet, you always want to stretch things out to make it look like it's supposed to. Let's stretch his feet out. There we go. Doesn't he look cute? Here, I got 2 of them now. Whoops. Your teeth are all over the place, man. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this crochet tutorial on how to make this keychain slash plushie. If you were making the plushie, you didn't have to add the keychain thing on the top. But I know, as big as it turned out, you're going to love it. And it is so cute. So, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you come back for some more. I do have more keychain ideas. So, till next time. Bye-bye.